ahead of Alabama, overwhelming the Ohio State Buckeyes 35-6. Quarterback Jeff Rutledge, a brilliant performance, completing 8 of 11 passes, 109 yards and 2 touchdowns. He was the Sugar Bowl Most Valuable Player. The resounding victory by Alabama over Ohio State set the foundation for the Tide faithful to claim their team was number 1 in the nation. But it was not to be. Notre Dame won that vote with a crushing victory over Texas in the Cotton Bowl, and as Bear Bryant rode off the field on the shoulders of his players, he had to think back to a September afternoon in Lincoln, Nebraska, and a game that probably cost Alabama the national title. Alabama was leading 7-3 first quarter against the Cornhuskers, but Nebraska off a fake field goal. Randy Garcia to Rick Burns, 7-yard touchdown. Halftime, all even 17. And Isaiah Moses hit number 32 for Nebraska. Continued his dash toward national stardom. Alabama's Tony Nathan fought back, though, to tie the game at 24 in the fourth quarter. And then the payoff for the Cornhuskers this way, as Rick Burns, who had 128 yards in the game, scored to put Nebraska ahead. Defensive heroics by back Jim Pillen saved it for Nebraska as he intercepted Jeff Rutledge, one of 5 interceptions for the Cornhuskers, as they handed Alabama its only loss of 1977, 31-24. A fact from the past that will surely be a motivation for the future. The premiere of the 1978 NCAA college football season and a rematch between Nebraska and Alabama in Birmingham. With the great running back I.M. Hip prime for the Huskers and quarterback Jeff Rutledge ready for the Tide. And this ABC Sports Exclusive is brought to you by the folks at Chevrolet, who invite you to come on in to your Chevy dealers coast to coast for a look at an all-star lineup of cars. By Light Beer, everything you always wanted in a beer and less. And by Ryder Truck Rental. Ryder, the best truck money can rent or lease. You're looking down on the largest crowd ever to watch a football game in the state of Alabama. Legion Field in Birmingham, having been expanded to more than 75,000 capacity. And this opening game of the 1978 season is a rematch with some feelings tied to it. Alabama and Nebraska, 2 fine universities with great football history and tradition. In 1977, Alabama finished the season with a record of 11-1, second in the major polls. 1978, the preseason polls put Bama number 1. Nebraska last year, 9-3, ranked 10th in the nation with a Liberty Bowl victory. The Huskers 10th in the preseason polls. Well, the final fling of summer traditionally comes on Labor Day weekend. And there's about 76,000 folks doing some flinging out here on the field and enjoying themselves. But it's also the first weekend of the major college football season and football all across the land between now and Monday. One of the highly touted teams for the season, Penn State, opened last night with a tough 10-7 win over Temple, and we'll have some highlights of that game for you at halftime. It was a very close win for the Finish Line. And perhaps that's setting the tone for the coming season, that all the games are going to be close, and a team that can win them all is going to be very rare. If you recall last year, there were no undefeated major teams when all the bowl games had been played. It appears that college football attendance may set a new record based on the season tickets already sold. Nebraska, for example, will have had 100 consecutive capacity home crowds when the season is done. And ABC Television Sports, delighted to be with you again as we begin our 13th consecutive season of presenting college football. Hello again, everybody. I'm Keith Jackson. Welcome back. We're happy to be with you. You hear all that noise down below? You think everybody's been off from summer camp, hasn't been able to do a thing, because this place is fairly rocking with enthusiasm. And why not? Because the Alabama Crimson Tide, fingered by most of the pollsters as the team to beat in 1978. They came so close in 77 and have a good many quality people back. There have been some rules changes for the 78 season. We'll document them for you as the circumstances come up to help you better understand them. Right now, let's welcome back for his sophomore season with us as our analyst and commentator, the supreme sandbagger of them all, the old redhead, Frank Broyles. Frank, nice to see you. Look like you had a happy, prosperous summer.
It's been a great summer for the Broyles family and myself, and I'm very anxious for the football season to begin.
I'll guarantee you we're starting it. It may be autumnal insofar as the football schedule is concerned, but the feel of summer is still here. It is 80 degrees as the Alabama Crimson Tide comes into the stadium. 14 bricks just fell off the top wall. Incentive is a very important thing, particularly in getting your team ready to open a season. Let's talk about that.
Well, Keith, you don't have any trouble getting your team ready to play a #1 ranked team. There's something special about this, and Nebraska coaches say that their team reported back in the best condition of any team in recent years. They say that their practices have had the concentration that we coaches always look for. And they needed this because they have 20 4th and 5th year starters that have had this added incentive to be best prepared for this football game.
You're telling me that Nebraska is an older than normal team.
They're a much older football team. It's a real credit to their organization that they can start 20 seniors and 5th year players.
They also put in the backfield together this year 2 of the most explosive running backs that we have seen in recent times. I.M. Hip on the left and Rick Burns on the right.
Well, this will make a big difference to the defense because normally Nebraska's fullback is a blocker and a part-time ball carrier. But with Burns and his explosive ability there, they cannot key just the tailback. They've got to look at the fullback and the tailback, and this should open up more runs for Hip and Burns.
Well, now, Tom Osborne, the coach of the Cornhuskers, fiddled around a little with the beer and decided not to fool with it.
Multiplicity of new problems with a new offense. Nebraska they broke all offensive records for their school last year. They may change, but it would surprise me.
Let's talk about Alabama. They're going to look a little different, too. The wishbone they use will be somewhat different, and they'll also use quite a bit of the eye.
The reason is to rest and protect their great quarterback, Jeff Rutledge. They are vulnerable there, Keith. They have only Jeff Rutledge with any experience, and they've got to take less chances with him than they did last year. The I formation gives him a chance to rest. He can turn, hand the ball off to the tailback, and let them do the work.
All you folks at the Nebraska State Fair, just hang on to your cotton candy, and I know that Dolly Parton was there last night, and Johnny Cash has been entertaining you, but stick with us. We think you're going to enjoy what your football team does here against Alabama. Nebraska and the Tide are ready to go.
See what's new today in a Chevrolet.
To the more than 600,000 people who bought the new Chevrolet.
They've split 4 games. They played 3 times in postseason meetings. Last year, we've well documented, Nebraska beat Alabama in Lincoln. 1966, Alabama routed Nebraska in the Sugar Bowl. The Tide receivers are deep. Alabama receiving the football. Tony Nathan is 22. Lou Eichner is number 30. Kicking off for Nebraska, number 14, Billy Todd. The game is underway for 1978. It's in the end zone to Eichner. He will not return it. It will be Alabama's ball. First down at the 20-yard line. And this is the way Alabama will start in the backfield with Jeff Rutledge at quarterback, a senior out of Birmingham. Tony Nathan, number 22, local fellow. Major Ogilvy also from just down the road, and Steve Whitman at fullback, also from Birmingham. So your 4 starters are from Birmingham, and Keith Pugh is from Evergreen, Alabama, which is not very far from Birmingham. It is a local starting offensive unit for the Tide. First down at the 20. They line up for the first play of the ball game and break the bone, if you will, by sending Ogilvy in motion, give the ball to 22, Tony Nathan. He gets to the line of scrimmage, and down he goes. And the Huskers are pumped up, you can see. Offensive front, Buddy Adelette's at tackle. Mike Brock is at guard. Dwight Stevenson is at center. He's from Virginia. Vince Booth at right guard. Jim Bunch is from Virginia. And Rick Neal is from Alabama, the tight end. So it's 2 Virginians and 5 Alabamans on the front for Coach Paul Bear Bryant. Second down and 10 from the 20 for Alabama. 5-man front for Nebraska. The ball is handed off inside as quarterback Rutledge goes down the line and bellows it to Steve Whitman, the fullback, and he got about a 2-yard gain. Defensively up front for the Cornhuskers, Lawrence Cole, Rod Horn, Kerry Weinmaster. And Weinmaster's a key man, the middle guard in this defensive set. Bill Barnett and a great athlete outside George Andrews. Bruce Dunning, Lee Kuntz are the linebackers. And the defensive secondary, Fisher, Pillen, Means, and Gary. Nebraska in the white, Alabama in the home crimson. It is third down, and let's call it 6 yards. 3rd and 6. This time, Alabama lines up in the I. Q is wide to the left. Penalty flag is thrown, and the play is stopped, and it may very well be too much time. And they're going to be a little more strict about that in 1978. They're going to give you 25 seconds, and they're going to use a stopwatch on you, and if you don't get it off in 25 seconds, they're going to do just what they did right here.
The back judge is called it instead of the referee. They started that last year. His introduction was last year.
Look at that fella down at the bottom of the names there. His name is Alabama Glass. He's quite a story in himself, and we'll tell you about him before the night's over. But that is his given name, Alabama.
He's a Big 8 official.
Yes, 3 Big 8 officials and 3 Southeastern Conference officials. The ball is moved back to the 19-yard line. It is 3rd down and 11 for Alabama. Out of the wishbone. Offside, Jim Bunch, right tackle, Alabama. And so the Tide backing up on too much time, 5-yard, illegal procedure. Could cost them another 5.
That's demoralizing to the Alabama offense, Keith. You want to come out and run 3 or 4 simple plays, make 4 yards with good physical ball carrying, and make a first down and get it out where you can use your entire offense.
Referee is James Artley out of the SEC. John Lineback, the Big 8, is the umpire. It is 3rd down, 16. Ball is inside the 15, handed off to Tony Nathan. Nathan brings it out to the 18, and Alabama will be looking at 4th down and 12. And it was a good job by the Nebraska defensive front, Rod Horn, getting the last tackle. And so the punter, Woody Humphrey, comes on for Alabama. At least he is scheduled to do the punting. Buddy Holt has a sprained ankle. The snap is good, the kick is away, and it's a high hanger. But Alabama is going to give Nebraska the football at very good field position at about the 45-yard line. That's a 34-yard punt. 34-yard net. Tom Sorley will open as quarterback for Nebraska. I.M. Hip will be at the I-back. Rick Burns will be your fullback. Kenny Brown is at wingback. Tim Smith is the split end and the punter for the Cornhuskers. And here they come. The ball is marked at the 42. So Nebraska gets the football and very good field position for their opening offensive series. Smith comes wide to the right. And let's see how much throttle Coach Tom Osborne has given that Nebraska offense to begin the ball game. He might come out and throw it. Nope, he goes inside to Burns, and there is the kind of play that they're hoping the Nebraska offensive front can produce for Rick Burns. Kelvin Clark, big tackle, 275-pounders up front, along with John Havacost at guard. Kelly Saulfeld is at center. Steve Lindquist is at the guard. Tom Ort at the right side tackle, and Junior Miller, he's a horse. He's about 6'6" and 225 pounds, the tight end. This time it's I.M. Hip for the ball. And Hip crosses midfield and gets close to the Alabama 49-yard line. It'll be 3rd and short for Nebraska. Alabama sends out on the field defensively Wayne Hamilton, Marty Lyons, Curtis McGriff, Mike Sebastian, and E.J. Jr. III in the trenches. Linebackers are Rich Wingo and Barry Krause. Defensive secondary, Don McNeil, Bobby Smith, Murray Legg, and Ricky Tucker. It is 3rd down and a yard and a half for Nebraska. Important play early in the game for the sake of momentum, if nothing else. It is Hip who gets the call. Hip slithers outside, gets his helmet just beyond the line marker, and should have the first down. It was Bobby Smith, number 49, out of Fairhope, Alabama, a junior, who really popped him, but Isaiah Moses Hip has tremendous leg strength. Of all the football players wearing Nebraska colors, he is the strongest on the sled when you test leg strength. He's awesome.
Keith, one of the statistics that coaches are using now is how much yards you make after you lose your blocking. That was a good example.
Frank Lockett replaces Smith at split end. Lockett is a flyer. Kenny Brown way wide to the wide side of the field, or the right side. Bottom as you look at it. And here's the pitch to Hip. Good blocking by the offensive front, but Murray Legg, one of the better defensive backs in the country, comes up out of the secondary, and the strong safety, a senior out of Birmingham, leveled it.
He refused to be taken out of the play with the guard and the fullback, Burns, blocking on him.
It looked like that Nebraska's offensive front on the right side of Lindquist at 250 and Ort at 244 was going to be able to bust a hole, but couldn't. The Bear ignoring the 80-degree temperature and wearing his hat. Hip is out of the lineup. Andrew Franklin is in at fullback. That puts Burns at the deep back or I back position. There's more power there. He's a better blocker. Little swing pass out to Burns. Rick Burns, fine running back when he is healthy. He's got the second Nebraska first down at the Alabama 34.
This is Sorley's strong point, Keith. Faking the fullback up the middle and just tossing short passes and letting the ball carrier make something happen with it after he catches it behind the line, of which Burns just did.
Andrew Franklin is a young man who grew up in Anniston, Alabama, which is just up the road, signed a letter of intent at Alabama, but when the national letter time came, he chose Nebraska. Good blocker. Burns is out. Franklin stays in. Hip returns at the deep back position, so Rick Burns gets a breather early. First down, Nebraska, Alabama 34. It is Hip with the ball, and the youngster from Chapin, South Carolina, who appeared on campus because he wanted to play football, borrowed some money, flew to Lincoln, went to school on a non-athletic grant last year, but I'll guarantee you after the season he had, he's got all the academic and athletic help that Nebraska can give him. The way they run their department, and they must run it pretty well because they've had enormous success. He gained 2. It is second down and 8 from the 32-yard line. Burns is back in, and Franklin comes out of the Nebraska backfield. Tom Sorley, a 200-pound senior out of Big Spring, Texas, is the quarterback. 5-man front for Alabama. Sorley back to throw, under pressure, gets it off to Burns, got some blocking, gets tangled up with his own man, and number 49, Bobby Smith, did a heck of a job over there defensively for Alabama. He took down the blocker, tangled up the runner, and with a little pressure from E.J. Jr., forcing Sorley to dump it sooner than he wanted, the Huskers control, the Tide controls the Huskers pretty well. The ball is at the 30. Now it is third down and 6.
That was a screen pass, and Smith had 2 blockers in front of him, but he just shot his gun, went right through him, and made the play.
That particular play there, a product of last year's rules change, which allows people to go downfield as eligible blockers. Smith is wide to the right on third down from 30-yard line. Ball is handed inside to Burns, and there's nothing there. Barry Krause, number 77, the linebacker, was coming like a truck, and he got his man, 238-pound senior out of Pompano Beach, Florida.
Keith, that is just a cat and mouse game that they're playing. The huddle call for Nebraska is check with me at the line of scrimmage. Alabama lined up in a loose defense. They automatized up the middle, and it changed.
All right, field goal team is on the field now. The line of scrimmage is the 31-yard line. Here's your first rules change. Billy Todd is in to try the field goal. If he misses the field goal, Alabama's going to get the football back at the 31-yard line. This will be a 48-yard field goal attempt. It is up. It is going to be close. Yeah, just by a tad. It just slid over the bar. And Nebraska gets on the board with 8:14 to go in the first quarter, leading 3-0. Did a little bit like the one in Lincoln a year ago, just bang, bang, and you got a field goal, except it was Alabama that got on the board first last year. This time it is Billy Todd with a 48-yarder, and he just stuffed it in the corner for the 3-0 lead at 8:14 to go in the first quarter. It is Lou Eichner, number 30, Tony Nathan, number 22, the deep men to receive the kickoff. Eichner, there he is. And he is a flyer. He'll be at the top of the screen as you look at the reception of the ball, and here is Billy Todd to kick it off. He's going to put this one in the end zone, too. This time, however, Eichner will come with it from a yard deep. Look out. The suit gets him. Dave Clark, number 63 of Nebraska, could have just torn him in half by riding him to the sidelines and knocking him all the way to Hell City, I think, but he backed off, just shoved him out, and nobody comes away shaken on the play. Watch it again. Now, you see this fella get outside, Frank, and that's got to scare Coach to death.
It does. Your contained men are supposed to keep everything inside, but he made a good cut and got back to the 28-yard line.
That's a 30-yard return. First down, just short of the 28 for Alabama. Nebraska leading 3-0. A 48-yard field goal. Rutledge running out of that wishbone, and he brings the football well across the 40-yard. They may not give him the 40, but that's the kind of a play I'm sure that Barry doesn't want to run too much tonight.
He changed the play at the line of scrimmage because Nebraska overshifted their defense completely to the field and only had 3 Huskers on this side of the field, and he changed it for a big play.
He gained 11 yards on the play, and he got a big block from Tony Nathan coming out of the backfield. One of the reasons we mentioned this about Rutledge is that Stedman Shealy, a big, strong runner, has had knee surgery, and he's not available at the present time at the quarterback position. So they're thin on experience behind Rutledge at that position. First down from the 38-yard line. Pass is away. The pass is complete to Major Ogilvy. Ogilvy is thrown out of bounds at the Alabama 49-yard line, and that should be another first down with Jim Pillen making the tackle for Nebraska. Jim Pillen figures in the history of this series in that he came up with 2 late interceptions in the ball game a year ago that preserved the win. As a matter of fact, Jeff Rutledge is on a string of 81 consecutive passes without an interception. And these have all come after that Nebraska loss of a year ago, because in that game, the Huskers intercepted him 5 times. All right, it's first down at the 49 for the Tide. Rutledge belted it to the fullback, kept it, dove over the tackle, and Andrews got him. He's a grad student, 6'4", 223, out of Omaha, Nebraska, in his final year of eligibility. That's a gain from the 49 to the 48 of Nebraska, and for the first time tonight, Alabama's camped in Cornhusker country.
Both quarterbacks, Keith, have changed the play at the line of scrimmage 2 or 3 times in this early stages of the game.
Hugh is to the left. Neal is the tight end on the right side. They're in the wishbone formation. Goes to the first man. That's Whitman, number 45. And Whitman bangs down to the Nebraska 45-yard line. He's a big fella, 224 pounds, a junior out of Birmingham. And next Saturday, ABC Sports will be out of the Pacific Northwest, the city of Seattle, at 6 Eastern Time, with the UCLA Bruins and the Washington Huskies. A long-time Pacific Coast rivalry that probably will have some bearing on which team represents the West in the Rose Bowl. Hugh is out. Bruce Bolton has come in at the split-end position for Alabama on 3rd down and 3. Rutledge wants to throw and throws short. The pass is complete to the fullback, Whitman. Whitman is wrestled down, but he's got a first down for Alabama inside the Nebraska 35.
Jeff Rutledge, this is really his 4th choice as a receiver. The wide receiver's covered, the back flaring is covered, the weak side end was hooking up, he was covered, but the fullback was open with his hands spread, Whitman, and Rutledge is just at home in the pocket.
Whitman has torn his shirt, has to leave the game. That's another rules change. You either leave the game to change your shirt, or else a timeout is called, and now a timeout is going to be called, and I believe it'll be charged against the Nebraska Cornhuskers as they made a substitution. That rules change, very briefly, the result of Bear Bryant. Bear's been responsible for a lot of rules changes. Used to put an extra shirt in the offensive lineman's breeches. Can't do it anymore. Score, 3-0 Nebraska, 6:18 to play first quarter. Back in, 6:18 remaining first quarter, and you see the Cornhuskers leading 3-0. Alabama, however, right now in the process of an offensive march. They're down at the Cornhusker 35-yard line. First down. Send Neal, split both ends, as a matter of fact. Hugh left, Neal right. Rutledge going down the line, keeps the ball, turns it. He's inside the 30, goes for about the 27, where George Andrews makes the tackle for Nebraska. Rutledge now has carried the ball 3 times, and he has gained 23 yards, and he is getting some solid blocking out of the likes of Adelet, Brock, Stevenson, Booth. Now, Stevenson is the center for Alabama. They think he may be the best one ever here, or one of the best. And he's playing jawbone to jawbone with Kerry Weinmaster. And a great burden on Weinmaster, who's given away pounds and inches trying to handle him. And Ogilvy takes it right up the pipe. That time Stevenson won the war, and they ran it right up over Weinmaster, and he got yardage out of it. In fact, he picked up a first down for Alabama at the 23-yard line of Nebraska.
Ogilvy was one of the most recruited athletes in Alabama history. In his final high school game, he rushed for 350 yards or so in 38 carries out of the I formation. That was just an I formation play.
He may not have the foot speed to be terribly effective out of the wishbone, or at least not as effective as he would be out of the eye. A very strong runner inside. Runs very much like Rick Burns, as a matter of fact. Rutledge rolls it to throw it. Pressure's on. He gets it off. It is incomplete. And Billy Jackson in the ball game cuts him down. But watch number 38, Lee Kuntz, looping from the outside.
They had a blitz on with Lee Kuntz, who was their leading tackle last year with 151 tackles. But you can see that Rutledge has the poise to just escape the would-be tackler and gets the pass off.
And so that is the first incomplete pass of the ball game. 5:13 to go. Ninth play of this possession by Alabama. Second down 10, Nebraska 23. Rutledge keeps it and loses yardage as Rod Horn, defensive left tackle, 259-pound junior out of Fresno, California, gets in to get him.
Keith, that could have been a face mask that the officials missed. They double-team Weinmaster right out of the middle. There's the left hand. His head spun around as if he had the mask.
He did. But there's always the story of the caught and the uncaught. Third down and 11 now for Alabama. From out near the 24 of Nebraska. Right side of that line, jumped in a hurry, handoff inside to Billy Jackson. He's a sophomore, 195-pounder out of Phoenix City, Alabama. I ran into Bear this year at Fenway Park in Boston during a baseball game, and he mentioned Jackson in particular as one of his hopes, one of the new people that would deliver the goods for him, and he begins to show us some quickness out of that wishbone formation. He's wearing 33, which was Calvin Culliver's old number. Now it's Alabama's turn for a field goal with Roger Chapman in the ball game to kick it out of Kevin Jones' hole. It will be a 35-yard field goal. If they miss it, Nebraska will get it at the 20 because the ball was snapped from inside the 20. The kick is no good. Just slid away over the left side. Just missed it. 3:49 to play first quarter. Nebraska still leads 3-0. Kyle Osborne relieved for the moment that his Cornhuskers were able to turn away Alabama as the field goal try of 35 slid off to the left side. And now it is Nebraska. Let's see if they have made substitutions. Neither team substituting much so far as we wind down toward the late moments. Burns at fullback. Hip is the deep man. Sola the quarterback. Smith wide to the right. Sola will put it up. Goes over the middle. Pass is incomplete, intended for Smith. Ricky Tucker, number 18, was Johnny on the spot for Alabama.
Keith, this was a good throw. It was the only place it possibly could have been completed. It was low outside, away from Ricky Tucker, the safety man. You can see Tucker break in front, and that's the mark of a good defensive back.
Smith out, lock it in. Change for the Huskers. He's wide left. Hip has it. Up around the 22-yard line. Led by Alan Crumley, senior out of Birmingham. Scores final tonight. Drake beating Texas Arlington 25-23. Southern Mississippi 10-7 over Richmond. That's the final. Eastern Michigan losing to Northern Michigan 30-3. Baseball score. Pittsburgh. Bucks are tough. 4-3. Beat the Braves, keeping the heat on the Phillies in the Eastern Division of the National League. Third down. 8, Nebraska. Shorley will put it up. Passes away. Passes grabbed. Nice one by Smith. But he's short of the first down. When you reach, extend yourself like that to accept a football, one of those secondary fellows come along, they really pop it to you. Other scores of the afternoon: Cubs lost, Cincinnati won. National League. Philadelphia beat San Francisco 3-1, so the Phillies hold their lead over the Pirates. Los Angeles beat New York today 3-2. California 2-0 over Toronto. Frank Tanana, the shutout. Tony Nathan is the deep man. Tim Smith will punt it for the Cornhuskers. Kick is away. It's a good. It's a dandy. Nathan waves fair catch way back at the Alabama 26-yard line. McNeil came whistling in for Alabama, put some pressure on the Nebraska punter, but that 49-yard punt was a good one. ABC's Monday Night Football premieres next Monday at 9 Eastern Time with the Baltimore Colts and the world champion Dallas Cowboys. Sure you'll enjoy that one over most of these ABC stations as Roger Staubach and the troops from Dallas go against the Colts of Baltimore. And there's still some question as to how soon Burt Jones, the Colts quarterback, will be available for duty. Lou Eichner and Joe Jones in the backfield now for Alabama. Behind Rutledge, and Rutledge will throw that little short pop, but it's almost intercepted. It was deflected at the line of scrimmage, and Tim Fisher almost came up with it, number 16. Like to have those big old defensive linemen waving those arms around up there.
Exactly, and Rutledge was throwing right behind the line of scrimmage, and you could see the defensive end, Edwards, and also Dunning, number 40, deflect the ball, and it was nearly intercepted. Very dangerous play.
Pass intended for Tim Travis, number 88. 2:15 to go, first quarter. Second down, 10. At the 26-yard line for Alabama. They take it into the middle. You see that big number 57 getting up there? That's Stevenson, the big Alabama center, and he and Weinmaster, the middle guard for Nebraska, are really having themselves a time. It is third down, and the long 3 or a short 4. The other baseball scores of the night and the day in the American League rolling by you there, with Texas leading Milwaukee 4-0. Minnesota beating Cleveland 2-1. Third down, call it 4. Alabama from the 32. Rutledge hands it, takes it away, and downfield, an incomplete pass. Travis was down there trying to get it, but Russell Gary, a sophomore out of Minneapolis, was right with him, and the official was standing right alongside of him. As a matter of fact, the official who waved it off as an incomplete forward pass was none other than Alabama Glass.
Russell Gary, the coaches of Nebraska, say is the best athlete on their team, and he made an outstanding play to prevent the pass completion.
1:32 to go in the first quarter. The temperature was 80 degrees as we started the ball game, and you feel like it. Humphrey's kick is away. Gets a good Alabama roll. All the way to the 16.
Can't let that happen, Keith. You've got to handle the punch. Thou shalt not let the ball hit the ground.
Now, that could have been about a 32, 33-yard punt. Instead, with the roll, winds up 52 yards.
Put them back where they have very little offense. Normally off their 15-yard line, they've got to run physical plays and try to punch out a first down.
There's part of the crowd. Better than 75,000, and I'm sure if you counted every head in the ballpark, you'd probably be close to 80. It is full. From the 16, first down, Nebraska. Franklin at fullback. Burns, the tailback, or high-back. Shirt tailed by Barry Krause, the senior linebacker.
Barry Krause was an outstanding linebacker, number 77. In the Liberty Bowl, was the outstanding defensive player of the year. He's forcing forward, which is the key to a great linebacker. You don't go out the line of scrimmage. You go forward at the first gap you can, and you can see where the tearaway jersey saved Alabama, the lack of tearaway jersey.
Right. Second down, let's call it 8. Ball is at the 18. Burns again. He's a good inside runner, and he wiggles his way out close to the 24-yard line before Krause again can make the tackle. Now, the worth of Rick Burns coming out of that up position or the fullback position in the I formation is he is a particularly strong runner in that he can absorb shock and still accelerate.
And he hits quick from the fullback. He's lined up only about 4 yards deep instead of 7 like the tailback.
And Franklin in at fullback is rated the better blocker. He's a big fellow at 195. Third down and a yard and a half, and it's Burns outside to get the first down and up to about the 28-yard line. So Nebraska works its way into a little better field position as Don McNeil and Ricky Tucker make the tackle, and the first quarter is history. And after 1 in Birmingham, Nebraska leads Alabama 3-0. Man, they really haven't started classes yet at the university, but Dr. Ferguson sent out the call for the band to come to the ball game, and they all showed up. Second quarter of play, Nebraska with the football, first down. At their own 28-yard line, leading 3-0 on a 48-yard field goal by Billy Todd in their first offensive possession. Soley hands the ball to the fullback inside end for Franklin. And you can hear the popping and cracking all the way up here. And those are the numbers for the first quarter.
Just about even, except for 3 points. Alabama's defense is coming into their own, Keith. They've got a lot of pursuit and gang tackling going for them now.
Second down, 8 from the 30, Nebraska. it short. Pass is incomplete. The pass is intended for the fullback Franklin coming out of the backfield, and Sorley did not have much time in which to make a decision because he was under a great deal of pressure. Boring in was Marty Lyons, a 243-pound senior defensive tackle. It is 3rd and long, 3rd and 8 from the 30. Franklin and Hipp, the setbacks out of the eye, with Smith left. Kenny Brown, wide right. Sorley. Option didn't pay for it. Byron Bragg's 47 nose guard, Marty Lyons 93 right there. John Knox also got in for a piece of the action. It's 4th down, punting time for Nebraska.
Marty Lyons was the left tackle, and the play went away from him, and he figured in the play. He's a great tackle.
Nathan is deep. Smith will punt. 49-yarder for Smith, his first effort. Good kick, a little lower than the other one. Nathan's going to have a shot at it. Penalty flags are down. May well have had a clip. Frank Lockett, wide receiver, had come down to make the tackle, and if Nathan had been able to get away from Lockett, he might have done some galloping. 44-yard punt, 3-yard return. Let's wait on the penalty. Let me run down the rest of the officials. I told you James Artley out of the SEC was the referee. John Linebacker, the Big 8 umpire. Robert Gaston, SEC, the linesman. Sam Mapist, Big 8 line judge. Joe Delaney, field judge out of the Southeastern Conference. The back judge is Alabama Glass out of the Big 8. So it is what you almost always expect on that kind of a play, clipping. And it moves the football inside the 20, all the way back to the 13-yard line. One more look at the attempt by Nathan to find some running room.
Your coaches will tell Nathan that once you make one man miss you, if you can give a little ground and get to the wall, do it. We'll take the chance to maybe once in a while we'll give it a little loss, but if we get to that wall, the last man, he gets by number 80, he has the wall in a big play.
Football is just short of the 14-yard line, and Alabama going to work now with Ogilvy trying to get outside, and he gets up to the line of scrimmage, maybe the 15, before Tim Fisher, 165-pound cornerback, comes in there to show him what he's made out of.
Dr. Tom Osborne
has his doctorate in educational psychology. And there's a man who has his doctorate in football coaching.
Does he ever?
And life. 2nd down, 9 from the 14. They take it inside.
Fumble.
Ball squirting around in there and scrambles on. Alabama saying nothing. Nebraska begging it. And the officials will let Alabama keep it. Tomorrow, the United States Amateur Golf Championship from Plainfield, New Jersey. John Cook against Scott Hoffman. Johnny Cook, my goodness. I've known that rascal since he was just a toddler. He can play.
Keith, Alabama looks a little lackadaisical offensively.
3rd down, just about 10 yards from inside the 14. And the handoff goes inside to Steve Whitman, the fullback. And not much there as the Tide elects to be relatively conservative in that field position. Now they'll punt it away with 12-10 to go in the first half. Nebraska leads it 3-zip. Woody Humphrey, a sophomore out of Bourbonnais, Illinois.
Got 10 people rushing.
Kick is away. And it's going to be put down at the Nebraska 47-yard line. So the Huskers get the ball at good field position after a 35-yard punt. They still lead 3-0. Back here in Birmingham, as you look down from the Goodyear blimp, 76,000 plus. Captain John Moran, the pilot tonight. This is the America out of Houston, Texas, the biggest of them all. First down from the 47-yard line. Sorley going deep with it. Smith down the sidelines, and it is overthrown. This is the best field position Nebraska has had so far in the ball game in the initial possession of the ball after a kick. Soley now is 3 out of 6 for 16 yards.
Tom Osborne, when he gets a first down at midfield early in the ball game, he will go for the deep pass, the go pattern, and it was an out and up pattern, but Alabama covered it perfectly.
Rutledge on the sidelines with the coaches. Second down 10 for Nebraska from the 47. There's that 25-second clock, 5 yards.
Keith, that was a lineman move, an offensive lineman moving after he took his position.
Picked up his hands, huh? They're the total yardage of the two teams from 1977. And you can see both teams did move it around. Acquired a considerable amount of real estate.
Nebraska was an all-time school record.
That backs the Huskers to the 42, where it is second down and 15. That's Rick Burns. And he comes back to the 47 for 5. So it'll be third down at about 10 with Barry Krause and Ricky Gilliland making the stop. Gilliland, the first man to get there. New scoreboard put up here at Legion Field. Big bull tied across the top of one of them. The other one reflecting the story of the ball game, a 3-0 lead. Alabama with 3 times out remaining. Third down 10. That's Brown in motion, told to throw it. Throws it short. He's got Big Junior Miller tied in, and he is close to the first down. They're going to mark him about the 44. That's going to leave him a yard short. So Miller, a 6'4", 222-pounder out of Midland, Texas, makes the catch, brought down by Wayne Hamilton.
You see Miller fake a block. There was nobody rushing. It's a delayed pattern after the linebackers have dropped back deep. And Junior Miller, you can see his athletic ability. He was recruited as a basketball player by Kentucky and all the schools in the Southwest Conference.
4th and 1, and the Huskers will go. With 10:20 to play in the first half. They lead 3-0. They need 1 yard. You believe that? That's too much time. Yep, that's the second time we've had a team hit with it. Alabama got the first flag. I'm not so sure that perhaps they didn't want it. Now they'll back the punter up and have a little more room to work and try to knock it out deep.
Keith, the only thing I can guess about the too much times is they're a little bit tired. They're getting in and out of the huddle and getting back a little bit late to the heat.
Smith in punt formation.
Nathan is deep. Smith to kick.
Nathan deep.
49 and 44 yards so far. Now he hits it straight away. Nathan waves at it, going to let it go, and the Huskers are going to down it. Right at the goal line. That's a 48-yard punt, and Nebraska puts Alabama in the hole with 10:02 to play in the first half, and the Huskers leading 3-0.
But with the wishbone, you have good protection with all 3 backs, and this was the end deep and the halfback in the flat, just a little bit overthrown.
Second down and 10, put away from the goal line. Bang. Goes to the halfback Nathan, and he's out about the 3, maybe the 3. I don't know if they'll give him that much or not. One of the forces in the ball game so far has been Smith, 3 punts, 47 yards, and defensive force comes from the likes of George Andrews, who's a heck of a football player.
Number 96 crashed into the inside and gets penetration and nearly caused a fumble on the counter play, a delayed play that Alabama ran from the 1-yard line.
Put it on the 2, where it is third down and 8. Look out. It is Billy Jackson, the fullback, coming out of the wishbone, and he's out beyond the 15. First down, Alabama at the 16.
This is a great cut by Jackson, right up the middle. He had good blocking, but the tackle number 75 missed him in the line. Good footwork, good balance, and you can see why Bear Bryant thinks he's going to be a good one.
First down, Alabama 16-yard line. Again, they go inside with it, get 2. As Jackson carries, he's a 195-pounder out of Phoenix City, Alabama.
Repeat the play is exactly what they did, and little Weinmaster was there. He wasn't the play before.
Second down. Ball is at the 19. Call it 2nd and 7. Travis wide right, Alabama. Fullback's got it again, and this time there is nothing as Rod Horn beat the blocking, and with some help from Bruce Dunning, number 40, the linebacker. Horn is 55.
And Bunch is blocking on him, and he just shucked him right there and moved out and made the play on Jackson.
And Bunch takes a lot of shucking.
And he is a good one. A starter, 3rd year, and he's just a junior.
Third down and 7 from the 19 for Alabama. That's Nathan. First down, Alabama. Got a good block from Mike Brock, the left guard, who came across side the Cornhusker, and the Tide now have worked their way out of trouble. Watch the battle in the middle between 57, the Alabama center, and Weinmeister in white 51.
You can see that the guard goes on and blocks the linebacker. He doesn't have to double team Weinmaster as the normal you would do on a trap, and Jackson just hops right outside.
Yes, sir. When your center can take on the big middle guard one-on-one, you've got an advantage, don't you? Rutledge wants to throw. Getting Haight. Got the blocker in front of him. Nice move by George Andrews as he slid right past the would-be blocker Travis and got his man.
Little Rutledge can escape trouble just as well as anybody I've ever seen.
Andrews playing the tight end side.
He's dropping on a pass, covering the flat. He has to wait and be sure that Rutledge is going to run. You can see him hesitate, but he just goes through the blocker, and what we say, he shoots his gun, chops him down.
Ball is at the 34-yard line. Second down, 6. They give it to the second man. Nathan runs out of a tackle. Nathan broke 3 tackles that time to get across the 45-yard line, and another Alabama first down. 12 yards on the game, with Coons chasing the play and finally making it.
All of it after he had left his blocking. There was no blocking left at the line of scrimmage, and he did it all of his own. Well, Bob.
6:40 to go, first half. 3-0 Nebraska. Alabama starting from about a foot away from the goal line. Now possess the ball. First down at their own 46. That's Jackson, the fullback, has a yard over the top. 96, Andrews, the man.
Watch Andrews crash. We call this a quarterback stunt. He's coming to the inside in case the quarterback was running the option, but he gets in on the fullback up the middle play because of coming on the snap of the ball, charging on the snap of the ball.
On the ground, Alabama 102 yards, Nebraska 37 so far. Inside 6 minutes to play, first half. Second down, 9. Rutledge pass. He's complete. Bruce Bolton going high in the air to catch it at the Nebraska 38-yard line. Have a look at Bruce Bolton.
The reason the play is successful, Bolton is going to push deep, and the defensive halfback has to cover him deep. And the strong safety is covering the flaring halfback, so they've got a vertical stretch on the strong safety, and they throw right in front of the halfback. Smith making the play.
First down at the 30, just short of the 38-yard line of Nebraska. Second man out against the ball, and he slashes across the 35, close to the 34. And this program being brought to you as a special exclusive of ABC Sports. Let's pause 5 seconds to allow our local stations to identify themselves.
KETV Channel 7, Omaha.
At the Nebraska 34-yard line, 12th play in this offensive possession for Alabama. Second down at about 5. Rutledge to Nathan. Tony Nathan at the 23. Tim Fisher the tackle, and for the first time in the ball game, the Alabama offense is really beginning to assert itself.
Keith Nathan cut back and outside the back door, as we say, that he started to his right. The pursuit came that way, and he went right behind the nose guard.
4:59 to go in the first half. And the score, with Alabama on the march, is Nebraska 3, 5-0.
Pitches right back to Nathan, and Q makes the clock on the strong safety to free him into the secondary. Number 4.
Clock running now as you see Eichner and Nathan part of the backfield. First down. That's 6 of them now in this drive. Ball is at the 11. Rutledge turns it up. He's pulled down from behind. Looked like it was Lee Kuntz looping from the outside, a linebacker that got him. It was.
You can see Kuntz shoot the gap. He watches the quarterback and fires in behind the nose guard and catches him coming from behind. Right there is Rutledge turned up inside.
They'll call it no gain. Second down 10 from the Nebraska 11 with 4 minutes to play in the first half. Huskers lead 3-0. Rutledge outside to Eichner. Loses part of his shirt, but he's inside the 5. Kuntz just missed it. Lee Kuntz got a hold of him, but wearing the fairway jersey couldn't hold him. And so Eichner has to leave the game.
Here's the ground level. You can see Kuntz, who was second team All Big 8 last year, get blocked and then keep his feet, pursue out the line and grab the jersey. And Bear Bryant has not done away with tearaway jerseys as Davey Nelson said that he would. Under the new rule change.
Alabama has run 16 plays in this possession. Third down from the 4. They can get a first down at the 1. Rutledge wants to throw it. Does throw it. Lobs it up for Ogilvy. Touchdown. That was a heck of a catch by Ogilvy because Andy Means was all over him, and I don't know what else Andy could have done except hit him with a hoe hammer.
It was a great execution on the part of Rutledge. Tight end blocked, Chief, and the halfback slipped through the line, and no one was covering momentarily. And then Means tried to get back in cover, and it was too late.
Alabama has gone to the lead. Roger Chapman out of Kevin Jones' hole for the point after. Knocks it through. 3:06 to play in the first half. Alabama has just marched 99 2/3 yards for the go-ahead touchdown. And they lead it 7-3 as we see the touchdown as it is scored from ground level.
It's the fake of the triple option. Everybody blocks just like the triple option. The 42, Ogilvy sneaks out behind the tight end block into the flat. He's open, but you can see the defensive back, I guess that's Smith, getting back there. Andy Means, I'm sorry, trying to get back, but that was an excellent catch by Ogilvy, Major Ogilvy.
And so Alabama has taken the lead at 3:06, 7-3.
Does that fire these fans up?
Oh. They used up almost 7 minutes in possessing that ball. 16 plays and going 99 plus. And now the kickoff. Kenny Brown, number 22, the deep man for Nebraska. They'd probably like him to have the ball. He hasn't seen much of it so far tonight. They have not used the wingback in their play. But Nebraska runs that wingback reverse as well as anybody. The kick goes to Rick Burns at the 6. Burns is out to the 30. One thing about Burns is that he doesn't mind taking the hit. He just gets behind the wedge, and instead of trying to get fancy, he just brings it as far as he can bring it.
That's the way you like to see him return. Get as much as you can, and if you can make the break right through some little narrow hole, have at it.
That was a 26-yard return, as you see Paul Bryant on the sidelines.
It's going to be interesting to see if Baird does some substituting and rests his starters on offense when they get the ball back.
Well, Nebraska's offense has been sitting there quite a while. They ought to be fresh, and that's Rick Burns blowing it out of there and going for a first down across the 40 to the 43 where Ricky Tucker made the tackle. He gained 13 yards on the run.
It was a draw play with the tailback hip leading through and blocking the linebacker, turning back on Krause, number 77, and making an excellent block for a tailback and a ball carrier.
So the Huskers come right back. First down, 43. Shoulder to throw. Ball is deflected, and he had a man. He had a man, looked like McGriff, the nose guard, reached up and slapped it away, or it might have been Braggs, the nose guard, number 47. But he had Lockett slanting, or Brown slanting across there, and for a moment he was open. Lockett comes out. Smith goes back at wide receiver for Nebraska. Alabama with 11 first downs, and the Cornhuskers have 4. Tied lead, 7-3. Ball given to I.M. Hip. I tell you, if he could have been able to get one more step and get into that secondary, he had some room. But Rich Wingo tripped him up.
He made a great cut to get back, 3 or 4 yards. He had no blocking at the point of attack. Just went back out the back door.
Hip has carried 6 times, gained 17. Brown comes out at the wingback position. And Jeff Finn goes in to replace him, number 87. Time called by Nebraska. That is the 3rd timeout for the Cornhuskers. They have no more remaining for this half. 2:10 to play, and it's a 7-3 ball game, Alabama. Six for the Cornhuskers. The ball is out near the 48. Soley to put it up. Goes to the sideline. Pass is overthrown. Intended for Tim Smith, and he had double coverage. Tucker in particular was there.
Keith, that was a most unusual choice for 3rd and 6 to try to go to one-man pattern, which you know they're going to double cover. They disrupted his pattern with leg at the line of scrimmage, and you can see Tim Smith and then Ricky Tucker coming in front. Just missed an interception.
4th down, punting time. Tim Smith, 3 kicks, 47-yard average. Alabama sends 5, can't get it. Kick goes to Nathan. Not much for Tony. A couple of yards out to the 21. 37-yard punt that time. The pressure was felt by Tim Smith. Next Saturday we'll be at the University of Washington in Seattle as the Huskies are home with the UCLA Bruins, and that is a very big ball game in the Pac-10 Conference. And it's 2 teams that are loaded for 1978. It's going to be fun. 6 Eastern, 5 Central, 3 Pacific. Next Saturday.
UCLA lost the Rose Bowl bid in the last minute of the last game of the season when Southern Cal came from behind to win.
They had a rather good practice session. Both teams have. First down at the 21 for Alabama, and Joe Jones in the ball game for the first time. A sophomore out of Thomaston, Georgia, carries it.
Keith, he's got his substitutes in the ball game. He's resting those starters. That's the 2nd offensive line.
We're getting a very light breeze now, which will break some of the humidity that we have had here. It was quite warm for a while with no breeze and 80-degree temperature. Though it's been relatively cool over the last couple of days. Last week down here, it was hot as the dickens. 90, 93, 94. Rutledge to Jones. Jones cuts it back and takes it to the 27 with 1 minute and 15 seconds to play in the first half. We'll have some highlights of Penn State's narrow victory over the Temple Owls last night, 10-7. Bill Fleming will be your host at halftime. Run down the scores around the country, and Bill has several interesting features for you. Interview with Bear Bryant. Feature with Alabama's quarterback Rutledge, the Alabama band, the highlights of the game we mentioned, and then we'll talk to Tom Osborne before the second half begins. 3rd down and 3. That's Major Ogilvy to the 30, and he is short of the first down by about a yard. Cut down by Andy Means, number 34, a sophomore out of Holdridge, Nebraska.
They're going to have to punt. There's 29 seconds left. They've got to get the play in 25. They'll just wait and take a penalty, I'm sure, with 4 seconds left on the clock.
Mentioning the substitutes for Alabama, Frank, the entire front unit is the 2nd unit. Eddie McCombs, Bill Searcy, Tom Huffstetler, Scott Allison, Rusty Faust, and Tim Travis. With John Turpin in at fullback and Joe Jones at a halfback with Major Ogilvy and Rutledge at quarterback, and there's the penalty. So they whittled away on the clock. They'll absorb the 5-yard too much time penalty. Only 3 seconds remain to play in the first half, so that penalty is relatively academic.
But it will give Nebraska a chance to try to block the kick. The only chance.
is now charged against Alabama with 3 seconds remaining in the first half. And I think it would give me a chance to tell you about Alabama Glass. I promised you that story. His father was from Goodwater, Alabama. His mother from Coleman, Alabama, which are Birmingham suburbs. And his father was a great Alabama fan. State, university, the whole thing. And he said if he ever, after he had moved to Denver for health reasons, he'd name his next son Alabama. So 5 girls, and 15 years later, that son came along, and he named him Alabama. And that's why his name is Alabama Glass. And no, he does not sell glass.
They're not going to punt the ball, Keith. Rutledge has gone back in. They feel like they can use up the 3 seconds and not risk a punt.
Well, that's relatively sound old country logic.
Yes.
Well, no. Give it to Jones. I'm pretty sure that they didn't want Rutledge falling down under a stack anyway, so they give it away. Time runs out. And at halftime, the Alabama Crimson Tide have a lead of 7-3 over the Nebraska Cornhuskers. And right now, let's join Bill Fleming.
All right, and with me right now is Bear Bryant, the coach of Alabama. And, Coach, it looked for a while there as if the offense wasn't going to get started, and then all of a sudden you lighted the fuse and you've got the lead in the ball game.
Well, our offense is very young, Bill, and I think they'll improve along. And of course, Nebraska's a great football team, and they came to play. They're real fired up. But I think maybe our team will improve as the game goes along. I hope so. Win, lose, well, if they just improve today and get a little better every week, I'll be happy.
You're not unhappy with the way things stand right now, are you?
No, I'm sure not. Sure not. But I think we get a little better every time. And we missed the field goal and got down and didn't get anything. And I'm not happy about that. But of course, that's just part of football.
You know, Coach, it looked to us as if the key to that entire drive was the run by Billy Jackson. He appeared to be stopped.
Well, he's an excellent runner. He's just a sophomore, and I didn't start him. I started to start him. I don't start the older youngster, but I think he's going to be a real fine football player, and he may see some more running out of tonight. Iowa, Nebraska's, they almost, I think they forced us to be able to throw the ball, and we prefer, you got to establish a running game before you can throw the football, and they have given us one look, changed another, but maybe we'll get going. But I'm proud of our defense. Our defense has kept them off the board with the exception of the field goal.
Well, it's been a whale of a ball game so far and still plenty to go. Thanks for joining us, Coach. We'll be back with more halftime activities right after this word about an upcoming ABC show. The halftime score here in Birmingham, Alabama. Alabama leading the Nebraska Cornhuskers by the score of 7-3. Nebraska first on the scoreboard with a field goal of 48 yards by Billy Todd in the first quarter. And then, of course, Alabama went ahead, 3:18 to go in the first half. But down through the years, the University of Alabama has produced a remarkable number of glamorous and successful quarterbacks. Fellows like Clark Starr, Joe Namath, Ken Stabler, and Richard Todd, just to name a few. Continuing in this line of masterful quarterbacks is Jeff Rutledge, who in the first half of this ball game has led the Alabama team to a lead. We talked with him about how he felt following in the great line of Alabama quarterbacks. Today's Fireman's Fund Flashback is brought to you by Fireman's Fund Insurance. And Fireman's Fund Insurance is brought to you by an independent agent near you. Now, let's hear from this great quarterback of Alabama, Jeff Rutledge, and how he feels.
You know, Alabama is known for all the quarterbacks that we've had here. You know, Joe Namath, Steve Sloan, Bart Starr, Richard Todd. But I don't feel there's any pressure on me as far as being in that same limelight. You know, I'm me. I'm Jeff Rutledge, and, you know, I'm going to go out there and do what I can do best and, you know, not worry about what somebody before me did, because I'm not, you know, the same quarterback they are. You know, my abilities are different than what they have. From all the past quarterbacks we've had, you know, I feel that I'm most related and closely, you know, known closely to is Bart Starr and Steve Sloan's type. You know, I've got my own lifestyle. I'm married. You know, I don't go out with a gang every Friday night or Thursday night in the middle of the week. You know, I go home and I have a wife who, you know, is keeping me straight, so to speak, and I consider myself in that sort of limelight. You know, they were quiet. They were great leaders, great Christian men, and you know, that's what I try to be. I just try to be a leader in my own way, and it's not going out, you know, with the gang every night.
Rutledge was intercepted only 5 times during the entire 77 season. Oddly enough, all 5 were in the Nebraska game.
Looking back at the film last week, you know, I threw a lot of passes that I shouldn't have thrown. I know of 3 that, you know, I couldn't even believe I threw. It was, you know, they pressured me, and I didn't, you know, stand the pressure very well. You know, I gave into it and threw some balls I never should have thrown, and, you know, I've taken a lot of writing from that. You know, I've accepted it. You know, I kid around with people when they mention that to me, but, you know, I learned a lot from it. You know, I grew up from the interceptions. I matured. Personal goals, I said, it's hard for me to really say what I set. You know, I like to keep them inside of me, but, you know, I have in my mind what I like to achieve as an individual, but, you know, I don't really think football is an individual game. I think we're out there for the team concept of it. You know, we set goals as a team, you know, the conference championship and the national championship, and, you know, that's what's in our mind. That's what we think day in and day out is winning the national championship. It's not what Jeff Rutledge can do for Alabama as far as an individual standpoint. It's what I can do for Alabama as a team concept of it.
Band of the University of Alabama is on the field right now. Dr. James Ferguson, in his 8th year as the director. The majorettes are on the field. The University of Alabama Flag Corps is here, and right now we're listening to the music from Charlie's Angels. In all, these 240 musicians, 16 Flag Corps members, and 16 majorettes, and a drum major, David Dewitt, returned early here to be part of the halftime festivities in the opening game of our NCAA television series. And in case you joined us a little bit late, Alabama's Crimson Tide was behind 3-0 for most of that first half, but then came back with a sterling 99 2/3 yard drive to go out in front by the score of 7-3. Now the music from the Pink Panther. University of Nebraska marching band did not make the trip here to Birmingham tonight, but I'm sure you'll be seeing them later on in the season. This particular formation is the number 1 formation. We're the one is, of course, the music, the ABC music, and the number 1 implication is obvious. Where all the pollsters have placed the Crimson Tide beginning this 1978 season. Now a folk medley of American songs, Camptown Races, Shenandoah, and Black is the Color. That'll be on September the 16th over many of these ABC stations. Second half action is coming up. Back in a moment for more Alabama and Nebraska. A quick word with Tom Osborne, the coach of the Nebraska Cornhuskers. Coach, for most of that first half, you contained that explosive Alabama offense.
Well, we did a pretty good job defensively. We got to do a little better job of getting points on the board, and our defense coach could have helped us out a little bit by stopping them down there deep, but we think we still got a good situation here, and I think our players are going to play hard, and we're going to sure go back after it.
Okay, best of luck.
Thank you.
All right, back to you, Keith.
All right, Bill, thank you very much. Alabama used 36 players in the first half, Nebraska 32. Substituting on a very hot, muggy night in Birmingham, Alabama. The deep men, Kenny Brown and Rick Burns. And here to kick it off for the Alabama Crimson Tide as we begin the second half of play is Roger Chapman. Ball is in the air, skittering around. Rick Burns lets it go, and it gets out of the end zone, and it will be Nebraska first down at its 20-yard line. Let's have a look at the young men Alabama sends out to play defense. Wayne Hamilton, defensive end. Marty Lyons is at big tackle. Curtis McGriff is the starting nose guard. Mike Sebastian at tackle. E.J. Jr. is the defensive end. Rich Wingo, one of the linebackers. Barry Krause is the other linebacker as they play a 52 defense. And here comes Nebraska now with Tom Sorley at quarterback. Burns is a fullback, and I.M. Hipp is the deep man. Alabama leads by a score of 7-3. Give the ball to Hipp, and Hipp has been well contained tonight. He tried to take it up the middle, and Curtis McGriff chopped his legs from under him. In the defensive secondary for Alabama, it's Don McNeil, Bobby Smith. He's a newcomer to that defensive secondary. Murray Legg, who's the well-traveled veteran there, the very good one. Ricky Tucker, a sophomore, is the free safety. Flag is thrown, and this game has been remarkably penalty-free so far. We've had one infraction for a lineman moving. Otherwise, it's just been for delay of the game. But this time we had some illegality along the front line as the linesman threw the flag.
Looked like the guard pulling on the trap left his position just a little bit too quickly.
Keith Jackson, Frank Broyles, and Bill Fleming from Birmingham's Legion Field with a record crowd of 77,023 watching tonight. That is the biggest crowd ever to see a football game in the state of Alabama. Alabama will face off the 5 against Nebraska. The referee walking it off, James Hartley, and there's the Nebraska offensive unit in the backfield. Sorley at the trigger position. Hipp and Burns are running backs with Brown at wing and Tim Smith the split end. Up front, it's Clark, Habakoff, Salfeld, Lindquist, Ort, and Miller. And I'm a little bit surprised, Frank, they haven't used Miller a little more in their pass pattern because he's a big one at 6'4", 220 pounds. Sorley hands the ball away to Rick Burns, and there's no place for Burns to go. He's nailed right there by Marty Lyons and Wayne Hamilton. The numbers out of the first half of play.
Alabama has a definite advantage, particularly in the possession. You can see they had 18 minutes down at the bottom, and most of it was in the second quarter. 11 first downs to 4, dominated by Alabama in the first half.
All right, it's third down now, and just about 13 yards to go for Nebraska as Sorley lays it over the middle, threw it behind the intended receiver. E.J. Jr., number 39, came whipping in there, but it looked like Sorley was going to have plenty of time, but when he turned around to look, there was nobody to throw it to.
Alabama rushed 4 people and dropped the others in the secondary, and they had every receiver covered, and they were fortunate it was a bad pass, but it would have been intercepted.
Nathan is deep to accept the punt from Tim Smith of Nebraska. Smith has punted 4 times for a 44-yard average. Both teams' kicking game very strong so far. That's a pretty good kick. Nathan comes up, calls fair catch. Alabama's got field position, first down at their own 47-yard line. That was a 35-yard punt. That was the shortest kick of the night for Tim Smith. Lawrence Cole is the defensive end for Nebraska. Rod Horn is at tackle. Kerry Weinmaster is in the middle. Phil Barnett at tackle. And George Andrews at the other defensive end position. Bruce Dunning, a linebacker, and Lee Kuntz, the other linebacker. Tide comes up now with Jeff Rutledge, Billy Jackson, Major Ogilvy, and Tony Nathan. And it goes to Jackson, and Jackson from the 47 is out to the 49 for a couple of yards. The defensive backs for Nebraska, Give you a close-up look at them. Tim Fisher, 16, is a cornerback. He's a hometowner. Andy Means is out of Holdridge. Russell Gary out of Minneapolis. And Jim Pillen is the monster man, or the rover, for the Huskers. Second down and 8 from the 49 on Alabama. Jackson has run for 42 yards. He's the leading ground carrier in the game. Nathan carries over the right side down to about the 45. Alabama's going to have third and short coming up. The Tide lining up this way with Rutledge, Nathan, Whitman. Jackson is in there right now. Ogilvy and Hugh the split in. Up front, it's Adelet, Brock, Stevenson, Luke, Bunch, and Neal. 3rd and 3 for the Tide. Right here is where the Nebraska defense has got to muscle up. Alabama gets in the end zone in a hurry here. Tide might get it really rolling. At that time, the Nebraska defense was equal to the challenge as they stacked up the whole movement.
Chief, that was the first time Nebraska has jumped into the gaps in the entire ball game. That is really a surprise.
It is 4th down, and time is called. It'll be charged against Alabama as Rutledge goes to the sidelines. And you saw Bear Barron a moment ago, a little disturbed that they probably didn't pick up that defensive shift. Time is out, 12:17 to go, third quarter. Tide leads at 7-3. Field from the Goodyear Blimp America out of Houston, Texas, with Captain John Moran at the controls. 193-foot long, big old pretty blimp up there sailing around. Here's the kick by Humphrey. Oh, that's a good one. But it's going to nose down in the end zone. Well, he had an opportunity if he could have hooked that thing a little bit toward the corner to dump it. You don't see that so much early in the season, do you? On Monday night, ABC's Monday Night Football, NFL Monday Night Football at 9 Eastern Time. The Baltimore Colts and the Dallas Cowboys. Colts won the American Football Conference Eastern Division a year ago. Dallas won the Big Bundle. Joe Washington will be in the backfield for the Colts as they test the Cowboys next Monday night. First down, Nebraska at their own 20. Sorley on an option. How do you do? 77 is Krause, 93 is Lyons.
Krause is the outstanding linebacker. He's stacked in behind the guard. He ignores the fake of the fullback up the middle, diagnoses the play, and forces forward. As I said earlier, a good linebacker does not wait. There he is.
Brown is out, Finn is in. Junior Miller, the big tight end, has been quiet so far in Nebraska's pass patterns. They give the ball. Oh, he's kept by Sorley. He throws it deep, intended for the big guy. He's double covered, and the pass is incomplete with Alan Crumley slapping it away along with Don McNeil. So the pass was late. Now watch this big fella. He was out there in the seams for a little while, but couldn't get it to him in time.
This is the old blast where they bootleg the ball on his hip, the quarterback, and he's forced out of the pocket, which he didn't want to do, but then he spots Miller deep and tries to throw it up the scramble, thinking the big 6'4" youngster can out-jump him, and he comes close. Look at that.
It is 3rd and 10 for Nebraska from the 20. Whistle stop it. Time is charged to the Cornhuskers as Sorley goes to the sideline to look for information and help. Both teams now with 2 timeouts remaining. Of the two coaches reflected there as it's 3rd and 10, Nebraska from the 20. Obvious passing situation. Rush is on. Sorley's in trouble, and they got him. McGriff was the first one. John Knox was the second one. That's the first sack in the ball game, loss of 11.
You can see the Alabama men rushing right up the middle. They forced him right out of the pocket. He had nowhere to go as they're coming from the outside, Hamilton and others, right on top of him.
So Alabama's second offensive possession as Nathan drops back to receive will have to be pretty decent field position. In fact, very good. Smith's kick out of the end zone is a good one. Nathan on the 37.
He's got a wall.
At the 38. First down Tide. Home folks love it. 44-yard kick, 15-yard return.
Keith, when you start ball possession in the 4-down territory, you normally put points on the scoreboard about 60% of the time. So let's see what happens.
Ball's right between the 38, 39-yard markers. Jackson, the fullback, out of the wishbone. Nathan, second man, pinned at the line of scrimmage by George Andrews, falls ahead for a yard.
1 yard.
10:25 to go, third quarter. Alabama leading 7-3. Nebraska's offense blunted in the second half so far. Rutledge caught from behind by George Andrews of Nebraska.
1 yard.
Andrews is an outstanding player. He's actually in graduate school under the new NCAA rules. His assignment here is to trail from behind and try to catch the play if you can, and there he is on another one of his typical plays.
Third down, 8, Alabama. Ball near the 36. Rutledge to throw. He throws for few. Can't get it. Nebraska defensive man did a good job. Andy Means had the lead position on him, and he just almost blocked.
Hugh is going to run an in and out, which we call a post corner, one of the toughest to defend, but Means did not take the fake inside, and you play as deep as the deepest man, and you play it. It's your play.
All right, here's the punt now by Woody Humphrey, sophomore for Alabama. See if he tries to knock it in the corner. Yeah, he shoots at it. Nope, got it in the end zone. Tailback, tell me whatever happened to the coffin corner kick. Tomorrow, John Denver and Alaska, the American Child, an ABC Sports special as John wanders about the Alaskan wilderness, joins a hunt for a bowhead whale, a majestic polar bear, rubber raft trip down the turbulent white waters. John Denver, special songs for this adventure. You'll see it at 7 Eastern and Pacific, 6 Central over most of these ABC stations. First down, Nebraska at the 20. Seems like a familiar position. They've been there most of this third quarter when they've had the ball. That's hip. Oh, what pursuit. Well, I'll tell you, they haven't given him any room at all tonight. It was Krause leading the surge.
Watch, I wouldn't want him chasing after me. Watch him, number 77, 235 pounds, going inside again, going to go across in their backfield and play where a linebacker should, and he just reaches out and grabs the face mask and lets it go. Oh, me, I didn't mean to do that.
I am hip is carried 8 times, gain 20. Sorley rolls and throws to the sidelines, and Smith is melted at the 27 by Don McNeil. Krause again over there very close to the play.
He's a wild man, but that's the way linebackers should play. Just go after the football in a bad humor, and wherever they need you, get there. That's the way college is playing today, Keith. They just free those linebackers and say, really, go where you want to go. We'll cover up with you with a weak side linebacker.
That and another thing that's so noticeable is all these wide receivers with that 4-4 speed just come firing out of there. They don't get cute or funny or anything. They just come straight at you and drive you away from them. It's changed. Sorley rolling, trying to find some room to throw it. I'll see if he gets up.
He got a good spot. I don't know whether he's going to get up.
Wingo and Krause. Lyon Jr.
That's the first down, I believe I'm correct, since the first quarter by Nebraska.
But the Husker quarterback paid for it. Ball is just outside the 30. First down for Nebraska. Alabama leading 7-3 with 8:10 to go, third quarter. Franklin's a fullback. He's got it. And the youngster from Anniston, Alabama, who chose to go to school at Nebraska, picks up about 3.5 yards. Here's some scores. of some other games and some baseball scores, and try to keep you up to date on what's going on about the country. Drake beating Texas Arlington at 25-23. They ought to be about ready to get underway over in Osaka. Utah State and Idaho State playing in Osaka as college football goes international. Second down and 8. Soley throws, pass caught by Kenny Brown, gets out of there. Oh, he's a flyer, and he just almost slipped away. Ricky Tucker finally dragged him down. Looked like Rich Wingo was shaken up on the play, and he will leave the game. Coming in to replace him will be Ricky Gilliland, number 92. Baseball scores reflected there in games played earlier today. Gain on that play is good enough for a first down out to the 42-yard line. Second game between the Dodgers and the Mets. Dodgers leading at 1-0. Dodgers won that first game. And Philadelphia beat San Francisco today, so the Dodgers could make a move there. California hanging in. And Oakland beat Boston. Well, Red Sox set to get a little tighter in the American League East. Playoffs start October 3rd. You'll see the playoff right here on ABC. Yankees won. First down from the 42 of Nebraska. Huskers trying to get untracked in the third quarter. That's Rick Burns, who has been Nebraska's most effective runner, but boy, he sure didn't find anything that time, did he?
Chief, he called the play in the huddle, just checked with me at the line, and Alabama lined up to the field. He changed his play. They shifted in the boundary, and he ran into the entire Alabama football team. Nothing there.
Nebraska is yet to go to that misdirection action with the wingback. One Curtis Craig ran for so many yards during his career. Second down, 11. Soley getting better protection, throws it short, and throws it right through the hands of Junior Miller, the big junior tight end. Wingo on the sideline, being administered to by the trainer, and they're working on his leg.
You can see him coming across on the AstroTurf, and somebody's going to chop his legs out from under him.
Frank Lockett put the block on him.
That's known as a chop block and very dangerous.
It is third down, 11 at the 41 for Nebraska. Sorley looking for some room to throw, gets it away to Brown. Brown slippery, and they pin him right at the yard marker, so let's see whether or not he had any room. Murray Legg, number 19, was back there.
They're putting their two tight ends in the ball game, and they're going to get out of there without the penalty. Hopefully, this was a situation they got a penalty and had to punt, and Alabama took over and dominated the game since.
All right, now they finally set the yard marker, and it's about a half a yard. Fourth down and about a half.
They've got the 10 players on the field.
They'll have to spend a timeout. Oh, my. So Nebraska, that's expensive. That leaves them one timeout remaining in the ball game. Only one timeout remaining with 5:49 to play in the third quarter in a 7-3 ball game, and a very short yardage situation here, which is very critical for them. But there's still an awful lot of football left, and Nebraska did not substitute as much as Alabama did in the first half.
It'll be a big factor in the fourth quarter.
It's Burns. He's close, but I don't know if he got it. Randy Scott in at linebacker, number 50, really bumped him. And let's see where they mark it. I don't think he made it.
Is there a penalty flag down on?
Looking, I don't see one.
I saw.
There's a penalty flag. Now, whether it's there to mark the ball or whether an infraction's been called, the chains are on to measure.
Nebraska short offense is staying out there. Now they'll come off.
There's a personal foul indicated as a result of having seen the flag. Now, that's what he indicated, wasn't it? Personal foul?
Yes, but I believe it's double. He called against Alabama and then changed it. He made a mistake in his signal, I should say.
So there was a personal foul, but Alabama would rather have the football, and they take it first down at their own 48-yard line. As Nebraska came up just short, about the length of the football.
It's an unusual call on fourth down, the pitch sweep.
They did not take a timeout away from Nebraska, apparently, according to the scoreboard either. So
Keith, let me explain what happened on the penalty. The penalty was after the ball was dead. Nebraska didn't make the first down. The ball goes over to Alabama. A 15-yard penalty is 1st and 25.
dead ball foul. Yeah.
Dead ball.
Dead ball foul, so they mark it off now. Put the ball back at the 34-yard line, where it is 1st and 25 for Alabama. Alabama dominating the second half, but the scoreboard hasn't changed. It's still 7-3. Rutledge has gone all the way at quarterback, hands inside to his fullback, and there's not much there for Billy Jackson. They might give him a yard, not anything more than that. Still hot and muggy. There's the attendance figure that we gave you earlier. Biggest crowd ever to watch a football game here in the state of Alabama. They've added 6,500 seats to Legion Field, and somewhere along the way they've found a way to get more folks in
They count the ushers. They count the ushers and the policemen and all. They do, really. We do, too.
Second down from the 35. As Rutledge will put it up. He's got Ogilvy wide open. Now sees him, throws it, and the ball is knocked loose. Incomplete. And Andy Means is the man that put the lick on him. It'll be third down from the 35. Alabama's got to go inside Nebraska 42 to get the first down. 23 yards.
The worst thing could happen would be an interception to Alabama. They want to make as much yards as they can, so if they punt it, Nebraska starts deep, but don't give it over, don't turn it over here.
3rd and 23. That's Jackson. He's a determined fellow, isn't he? Now, he had a shoulder pad flopping loose from a torn shirt, but his number was intact, and he was allowed to stay in the ball game. Got a great block from Bunch and another one from Brock.
It's just a trap on long yardage when you expect the passer to be rushing the passer, and they ran it beautifully with Jackson breaking outside behind blocks by Ogilvy and the split end Pugh.
But it's short of the first down. On 4th and 12, Humphrey is in to punt. Hangs it. Fair catch is called by Frank Lockett. But Nebraska has 4 field positions back at the 7-yard line. 46-yard punt, 4:41 to go, third quarter. This is what has happened so far in the ball game. Scoring tied a 48-yard field goal in the first quarter. Second quarter, Alabama went 99-plus yards to take a 7-3 lead, and we're still there. First down from just outside the 7. The Sorley goes high and deep down the front. Intercepted by Don McNeil. Alabama gets it right back. And that, believe it or not, is the first turnover in the game.
It was just a fly pattern where the wide receiver Smith is going deep, but you can watch McNeil run right with him and leap at the moment and catch the ball in his height. Exactly like Bill Oliver, their backfield coach, teaches him. It's a rollout pass, 2 blockers leading, fly pattern, lay the ball up, never underthrow a deep pass, which is what happened. You can see him, McNeil jump and play the ball in his height.
And the Tide is back in business. First down at the Nebraska 39-yard line with 4:35 to play. Rutledge trying to strike quick. Goes over the middle. That one is almost picked off by Lee Kuntz. Remember, when Rutledge started the ball game, he had thrown 81 consecutive passes starting after the Nebraska game a year ago without interception. Tonight in the game, Rutledge has thrown 11 passes, and so now he has 92 without an interception.
This is an outstanding play by Kuntz, the linebacker 38. They're trying to drag the right halfback Oakley across down the middle, but Kuntz leaps and knocks it, deflects it down with his left hand.
2nd and 10 from the Nebraska 39. That's Jackson. And the fullback is to the 34 for 5 yards. That'll give you an idea of the effective charge by the Alabama offensive front.
Push and shove of the wishbone of that play up the middle where you've got to average 5 yards, and they did it.
Jackson has now gained 60 yards, Frank, in 12 carries.
He looks exceptionally quick. Exceptionally quick.
3rd and 5. Rutledge turns it. And Jeff I believe he's got his first down. Incidentally, Rutledge had just set a new Alabama school record in successive passes thrown without interception. The previous record was 91, held by Steve Sloan, who is this year the head coach of the Ole Miss Rebels. Just inside the 29 rather, for a first down for Alabama. Fumble. Rutledge covered. First fumble of any consequence. At least we had one that looked like it popped loose, but the team retained it. That time Rutledge did not get the handle.
You can see him talking to Stevenson, saying, "That's all right, that's my fault." Doesn't want Stevenson to worry about blocking. Go ahead and make the block. I'll get the ball. He's telling him.
3 minutes to go, third quarter. Alabama's done a lot of threatening here in the second half, but so far have failed to put points on the board. Second down, a little more than 10. Rutledge to throw. Andrews. George gets him. Lee Kuntz came one way and forced him, and then Andrews ran him down.
Andrews is 6'4" and 225 pounds. All Big 8, and he is all over the football field.
Football mark just inside the 25, where it's going to be third down and a long 6.
He has 4.6 speed. That's the mold you want for a defensive end. 6'4", 225, 4.6. Give me a dozen of them.
Bolton in wide for Alabama. Open side of the field. Out of the picture. Flips it out. Ogilvy. It was Bolton who came back and threw the block that opened the door. And Ogilvy took it down for a first down, and the Tide right now is rolling.
That was beautiful execution. You can see Ogilvy set up his block for all young kids. Watch Ogilvy take the pitch, turn, well, if we see him turn inside, he draws the defensive cornerback inside, allows Bolton to get outside, chop him down, and make the big play.
It was Nathan who threw the initial block that got Ogilvy going. So it's first down, Alabama, at the Nebraska 13-yard line. Nathan. Inside the 10 to the 8. Nebraska defense has been on the field virtually the entirety of the third quarter.
And 18 of the 30 minutes of the first quarter without any rest. You can't get your second win, Keith. Once you've gotten tired and exhausted, you can't grab that second win, and you're just out there existing, and that's all.
From the 8. Rutledge. To the 2, where Tim Fisher made the tackle. That's another Alabama first down. First and goal at the 2.
This was a bootleg off of the inside drive play where they fake to the fullback and then going to fake to the tailback, and then he's going to keep the ball outside. You can see the cornerback tackle the halfback and leaves him on an open field, leaves the quarterback Rutledge on an open field.
A little 165-pound quarterback took him on, oh, didn't it?
Sure did.
First and goal from the 2.
And the ball to Nathan.
Touchdown. by Chapman. No good. He hooked it right and missed it. Well, with 1:26 to play in the third quarter, Alabama has taken a 10-point lead over Nebraska, 13-3.
Here's the touchdown. They take the ball deep in the backfield and hand it to Nathan, following the two blockers right behind Booth and Bunch, and he usually leaps over. He doesn't have to. He's got a little push and shove contest going. Here's another view from the end zone. You can see the two backs leading through in case they blitz the linebackers. And actually, Nathan broke outside, made a good cut, found a little daylight, and scored.
Deep men for Nebraska, Burns and Brown. Chapman's kick. Brown, 5-yard line. To the 25, where Ricky Tucker takes him down, a 21-yard return if they give it to the 26. They don't quite give him that much. Just outside the 25. 1:20 to go, third quarter. Now the Nebraska defense is on the bench, hoping to goodness that their offense can keep the ball a while. In the meantime, Rutledge is going over what's happened recently, what's been working and what hasn't been working. Let's see what Tom Sorley can do. As Franklin is the blocking back or the fullback. They throw the ball to Tim Smith, and Smith's spun out of bounds right near the 35. That's going to be about a yard short of the first down.
All Nebraska's been able to do since the middle of the first quarter is try to pass, and they have one or two short completions, nothing long, nothing even beyond a first down distance.
They've only gone one time over the middle at that big tight end. Hip. Not much. Enough for the first down as he moves it out across the 35 to about 37, where Junior and McGriff do him in.
It's amazing how many times they've run into the strength of the Alabama defense. They are disguising it the last minute moving, and Alabama's guessed right so many times.
It's not been a big night for IM. But he can burn you before you know it. Cuts back into the middle, and he is sealed by Krause. Hamilton comes over and puts him away. Tony Nathan, who scored the touchdown for Alabama. Drew up right here.
If there's any doubts about Alabama's offense, they expelled tonight in my mind.
Second down, 8 from the 39. Sorley wants to throw. Ball is deflected, batted away, and he was slapped down by big Marty Lyons, defensive tackle. I frankly don't know who Sorley was intending to throw the ball toward, because he didn't have anybody in white that was open.
Tim Smith either busted a pattern or something happened. He was supposed to break out quick. Tom tried to throw the ball to him, and Smith ran deep, and obviously he held it and actually fumbled it a little bit. Could have been called a fumble.
It's 3rd and 8. The Alabama defensive secondary did the job. Sorley just absolutely had nobody to even look to. And McGriff put him away. And the third quarter is over. 45 minutes of football played in Birmingham, and Alabama leads it 13-3. We go to the final quarter of play with Tim Smith back to punt and Tony Nathan deep to receive it. Nebraska's got to give up the ball and send that tired defense out one more time. Smith gets away a pretty good punt. Nathan calls fair catch and takes it at the Alabama 26-yard line. That's a 38-yard punt, and those are the numbers in the ball game, and you see the total yards now beginning to roll up in favor of Alabama. And the time of possession now beginning to take a decided edge for Alabama. Born primarily out of that third quarter of play. And in the third quarter, Nebraska did not gain a single yard rushing. Did not net a single yard rushing.
They've tried very few plays. They've given up on their running game, evidently.
First down, Alabama, just outside the 26. Whitman is in there at fullback. They go to the sidelines, trying to set up a wide receiver screen out there with number 25, Michael Coleman, junior out of Anaheim, California, and Jeff threw the ball over his head. Barrett Crowley.
When you've got a quarterback like that, you don't mind throwing anywhere on the field. He's not going to throw for an interception. He can avoid it in any way.
Whitman, the fullback, giving it as the up man out of that wishbone, and he struggles for maybe a yard. He's pinned down by Kerry Weinmaster. And Rick Burns, I think that is, with his hand wrapped. Yep, number 35. Taped some fingers together.
High formation fullbacks always have a bad hand.
Yeah, I think you're right.
A bad shoulder and a few other things, too.
They play in heavy traffic.
Yes.
Third down, call it 10. That time Whitman found some room, gets it out to the 35, but George Andrews brings him down short of the first down. And watch the play in the middle as Stevenson takes on Weinmaster.
Bear says he's potentially the best center in Alabama history, and you can see him stand up, little Gary Weinmaster, who's only 6 foot tall, and he's just having to treat and finally cannot get hold of him, and Whitman breaks clean for extra yardage.
Fourth down, a yard. Alabama will punt. Humphrey is in, averaging 42.2 on 6 kicks. Gets it away and hangs it very well. Kenny Brown calls fair catch back at the 28-yard line of Nebraska. That was a 37-yard punt. 13:27 remain to play in this football game. Next Saturday, we'll have a look at the UCLA Bruins as they go to the Northwest to play the Washington Huskies. Washington winning the right to play in the Rose Bowl a year ago. Don James bringing back a very strong team. Terry Donahue at UCLA has 2 exciting running backs we'll see next week. James Owens and Theodis Brown. And there's some new wrinkles coming out of that UCLA offense this year. It'll be fun to see it. Sorley turns and gives to Burns. And Rick, running straight ahead, moves from the 28 out to about the 32, where he is brought down by Ricky Gilliland. He's a senior out of Birmingham. A lot of people on this Alabama football team from the Birmingham area, which tells you that they play pretty decent high school football.
Their high school football here has been superior since I can remember when I was at Georgia Tech 30 years ago.
13 minutes to play in a game. 13-3. Alabama leads by 10. Sorley back to throw. Throws it short to Bird. Rick doesn't have much help. He's up to about the 35 as Wayne Hamilton, number 94. Folks in Southern California remember Mr. Hamilton from a year ago as he almost single-handedly contained USC for half the ball game.
And didn't he put the rush on the 2-point play to save the ball game for Alabama? One of the Nebraska linemen is injured.
Time call, charged for the injury. And is down up on the 45-yard line with 12:45 to play in the ball game. Not been able to see his numbers yet.
Must be Sawfield because Jeff Bloom, the center, is coming into the ball game, second-string center.
Bloom is only a 185-pounder.
Uh-oh.
So they're giving up Sawfield here, for the time being at least, a 237-pounder and putting in a 185-pounder.
He's coming on.
He'll be back.
Nothing has worked for Nebraska, and you just keep jumping around. Their quarterback calls one, then the other, but the Alabama defense has dominated the line of scrimmage.
Burns and Hip together in the backfield. Smith wide to the left. Third down. They need 3. I am Hip. And the ball gets loose, and Alabama looks like they had it. E.J. Jr. Sorley let it get away as he went to Hip and pulled it back. Ball squirted loose, and Jr. covered it for Alabama. And so once again, the Tide is in position to put some points on the board, possessing the ball just inside The Nebraska 35.
So an unusual play. Junior's coming from the weak side in, and they're going to pitch the ball back to him. He's in between the quarterback and the lateral man. Trailing halfback, he pitches it right to
He just picked his pocket, didn't he?
he just
It was right in between them. Oh, my God. Well, whatever. Alabama now is ready to go from just inside the 35, and they handed up the middle. And it's Tony Nathan, number 22, who's already scored one touchdown in the ball game, ramming ahead for good yardage inside the 30 to about the 28. Nathan now at 62 yards on 11 carries.
That play early in the ball game when Nebraska defense was fresh was 3 yards and 9 seconds. That's what we were talking about at the top of the show.
Look over there! Look over here! Over here! Over here! Over here! That's it. He's on. Second and 3. That should be a first down as Nathan carries one more time. He's across the 25, near the 24, and that's just about where he needed to go.
Alabama's in 2 tight ends for the first time other than short yardage in the ball game, which means they suspect that Nebraska defense is tired, and they're going to assault them. The old theory of the wishbone, we're going to come right at you, and let's see what you can do about it.
Well, a year ago, Bear had 10 running backs that each of them gained 100 yards or more. This year, he's not that deep.
He said he's very, very shallow in the backfield. In depth, he's going to have to stay with those young boys and hope that they avoid injuries.
Just short of the first down. Just inside the 25. You see the rushing totals. Don't expect to see that small number behind Nebraska, do you? Third down and about a foot. There's your first down from Nathan. Inside the 20 to the 19.
It's a sickening feeling to sit over there and can't get the ball away from the wishbone team. I've been there.
Nathan is now gone for 70 yards. Jackson for 60 yards. First down just inside the 20. Rutledge. Down he goes. Andrews one more time. George gets the quarterback. Well, I tell you, take Andrews out of that Nebraska defensive alignment, it would have been in trouble a long time ago.
As you can see, he's lined up away from the direction of the floor, and he's trailing from the backside and has the speed to catch the quarterback when he cuts back.
Loss is back to near the 22. Second down, 12. Fumble. Nebraska comes up with it. Number 63, David Clark, a sophomore out of Odessa, Texas. George Andrews knocked the ball loose. And so Andrews makes one more outstanding play. The first turnover for Alabama, 10:34 to go. Play caused by Andrews, covered by Clark.
You can see number 96 crash into the inside. It's a delayed play. He breaks into the backfield and gets right at the exchange point, and the ball flies loose.
First down, Nebraska, just short of the 20. Hip. He's out close to a first down. He'll be just about a half a yard short as Barry Krause, 77, finally dragged him down. Got a little help from Alan Crumbly. To give you some idea, that I think is Hip's biggest gain of the night.
And he still had to make it on his own, Keith. He had no blocking. He broke inside the pursuit and made the yardage.
Hip has carried 11 for 33, Burns 11 for 39, whereas Nathan has gone for 70 yards and Jackson for 60 yards. That's the first down.
He earned it the hard way.
Yeah. Randy Scott, a sophomore out of the little town in the suburbs of Atlanta where Frank Broyles grew up, Decatur.
My hometown. It's not Atlanta, it's Decatur.
You don't even like to be called a suburb, do you?
No, Atlanta has surrounded it, but it's still Decatur.
Just outside the 30, first down. Sorley throws it short. Pass is incomplete, intended for Junior Miller, and Murray Legg was right in his pocket.
He was in his hip pocket. You can see Legg, the strong safety. He's going to be covering a tight end, 89, man for man. Hamilton pushes him to the outside, and here comes Legg inside and reaches inside and strips the ball free.
Second down 10. Yep. That's first down. So Isaiah revving up his motor at 9:27 to go in the game. Alabama leading 13-3, and it's another Nebraska first.
This is the I formation off tackle play. He runs for daylight, gets the ball deep in the backfield, and cuts back into a gaping hole and turns on his power. Watch those legs work. Lowers his shoulders to take on the tackle.
Ball is at the 46-yard line as Sorley sets up to throw. Better hurry. Third sack of the Nebraska quarterback. Line, Sebastian, and Kraus. Loss is back inside the 38-yard line from the 46. New York Giants beat Tampa Bay 1913 as the National Football League opened its play tonight. And John McKay's punch didn't quite enter. Second down and long. Fullback turns up to the 40. McGriff, Curtis McGriff, 257-pounder out of Cottonwood, Alabama.
Keith, in visiting with coaches around the country, 3 linebackers that are going to go with flow can destroy an offense without misdirection. All the coaches we're talking about this summer that I visited with, misdirection, misdirection. We've seen very little about Nebraska tonight.
None. I don't believe it. Certainly the wingback hasn't been involved, which has been a staple play for years. Sorley almost falls down. Got to be dead tired. Tries to dump it off to Andrew Franklin, and he got it forward just enough to make it an incomplete forward pass. It was Wayne Hamilton and Marty Lyons who was causing him all of his misery.
This is real quick thinking by Sorley because the receivers are covered. He was going for the bomb. Obviously, he didn't want to throw it. He holds the ball. Then as he's about to get tackled, he sees his fullback right there, and he throws it to him. I guess that was Burns, wasn't it?
Fourth down, and they'll have to punt now as Smith is in to kick. 5-yard penalty faced off against Alabama. I didn't get the signal for what it was for, and Smith's kick is away to Nathan, who will fair catch it at the 26. So time is out with 7:44 to play in the ball game. Alabama has the ball at a 10-point lead over Nebraska. And the score. The ball now back in the possession of Alabama. Jackson's a fullback. Rutledge the quarterback, and he keeps it. Penalty flag is on the field on the play. Nathan gets up very gingerly.
Alabama jumped in an unbalanced line for the first time and ran to the wide side of the field. But Nebraska recognized it and moved over, Keith.
Talking to the Nebraska captain, George Andrews. Illegal procedure. They'll decline it. Gain on the play, better part of 2 yards. Second down 8 from around the 27. Nathan across the 30. Tide grinding along. United States Amateur Golf Championship, Plainfield, New Jersey, 5 Eastern, 4 Central, 3:30 Pacific tomorrow. John Cook, Scott Hawk, finalist. Most prestigious amateur golf tournament in the world, I guess. And a couple of fine young players jousting for the big trophy tomorrow. Third down. Odious Lee is now in there at middle guard position for Nebraska as Rutledge sets it up to throw. He puts it downfield for Bolton. That ought to get a flag, and it does. Andy Means draws the flag, pass interference. And Alabama will have the ball. He got tangled up with him and held him. Here's Odious Lee now, who is playing the middle guard position, working against Big Stevenson in relief for Weinmeister, and he gets loose in there, doesn't he?
Oh, he just goes through traffic and makes the play. He alternated with Weinmeister last year.
That is a 37-yard penalty, Frank.
Actually, the pass was not going to be completed, but the defensive back could not recognize that. He couldn't take any chance. He's beat on the play, and he just grabs a hold of him, as you can see right there, and is falling and trips him.
And it's first down, Alabama, at the Nebraska 32. Outside it goes to Eichner. He'll have a first down around the 20-yard line. Jim Pillen made the tackle.
Nebraska was caught out of position.
And we've got another flag. You know where that old phrase, handkerchief, came from? The way they used to mark the ball.
Yeah.
That old...
They used to have a red handkerchief for penalty and a yellow handkerchief to mark the ball.
Yeah. Then they found out half the sports announcers were colorblind, so they went to a bright color.
Nebraska's had trouble with two split ends. They have loosened the defense and forced Nebraska into corner coverages, and they don't get any support on the wide play.
Clipped by Alabama.
Here's
78.
Here's number 78. Clipping right here, number 9, their safety man, Gary, right from behind.
So the ball is backed up to the 35-yard line, where it is first down and 13. Oh, ball almost popped loose, didn't it?
George Andrews got to be there somewhere.
Jeff Quinn has been throwing on the sideline for some time for Nebraska, but he's yet to get a call, but he's been told to warm up, and he's doing it. Second down and just about 10 yards to go. Jackson, the fullback, to the 30, and it'll be third down and 8 yards to go. We're going to have our offensive and defensive players chosen for you in just a few moments as we come down to 5:50 to play in the ball game. Defensive and offensive players will, in their name, receive from Chevrolet for their respective universities or their university $1,000 each in scholarship contribution. All right, it's third down and 8 for Alabama at the Nebraska 30. Rutledge will put it up. Over the middle, he's got a man. Pass is complete to Bruce Bolton at the Nebraska 15.
Keith, this is the crossing pattern. Bootleg fake in the backfield, and Bolton's just going to find an open area, slow up in there, and say, hey, give me the ball, give me the ball. And Rutledge is right on target. Throw it in the breadbasket. You can't drop it.
16-yard pickup. Bolton's caught 2 for a total of 30 yards in the game. Ball is just inside the 15. Alabama leading 13-3 and looking for some more. Jackson's the fullback. Rutledge keeps it. Inside the 10 to the 9. Every time Jeff Rutledge grabs the ball and goes up the middle, a lot of folks hold their breath. George Andrews made the tackle for Nebraska.
I don't see how he wormed through that middle of that line and saw enough daylight to get anything, and he picks up 6 yards.
Second down 4 inside the 10. 4.5 minutes. The total yardage now getting pretty lopsided in this game. Jeff's got to eat it. And does. Penalty flag thrown.
Alabama's guard was pulling, and you get in a wishbone stance, Keith, and you're going to fire out on 9 out of 10 plays. You may pull just on a rare occasion, and you want to pull those feet back. And, were you a guard? Did you play guard? Oh, you were a fullback. But he pulled those feet back a little quick, and the referee saw it.
Wave it off. Illegal procedure. 4:13 to play in the ball game. Third down coming up. Major Ogilvy comes onto the field, and Lou Eichner leaves. A change. Ogilvy's a little stronger runner, a little more power. Eichner is the quick one. Nathan Ogilvy Jackson in the wishbone. Rutledge keeps it. He may have his first down. He got just over the 5, and that's just about all he needed.
Got more quickness than I thought he did. Than he had. Rutledge just darted through the hole like the best wishbone quarterbacks you've seen. Watch the play. They jammed the play outside. It's supposed to go outside, so he doesn't want to take a loss. And watch him just cut right through there, and you see him just jump and leap. And he gets hit and holds his breath.
Chains on the field. They are just that short of the first down. Fourth down coming up at 3:58. This Nebraska defense played its heart out on a hot and muggy night in Birmingham, Alabama. Nebraska next week will play California in Lincoln. Alabama next week plays Missouri at Columbia on the 16th. They've got a week off. Fourth and short, and I don't know. That linesman from his position does not look to me like he's going to give it to him, and they don't make it. The Nebraska defense holds them. I tell you, that's a bunch of gritty kids out there, Frank. 3:41 to play in a ball game. Nebraska holds Alabama, gets the ball back, trailing by 10 points. Osborne, head football coach of Nebraska. It's been a long night for Tom. He ain't playing.
There's 40 away from tying. Stagg is the winningest coach of all time.
There goes fumble on a bad exchange. As Jeff Quinn, the quarterback, comes into the game, and on the very first exchange fails to come up with the ball. And Alabama recovers it, and the Tide sit right there at the Nebraska 3-yard line, first and goal to go. Gilliland, I think it was, that came up with it. So now, Nebraska's third turnover may be the last gasp for them. We'll see Alabama on the night of September 23rd right here in Birmingham as the Southern California Trojans come to town. 3:37 to play. Rutledge hands it inside, and not much. This game will go at 4 o'clock Eastern time. Start at the late afternoon. Billy Jackson at fullback. September 23rd is also the day that you'll see as part of the regional coverage Michigan at Notre Dame. Jeff Rutledge has been chosen as the offensive player of the game. Alabama quarterback George Andrews, the defensive end for Nebraska, gets the defensive player of the game. The respective universities each get $1,000 for the general scholarship fund from Chevrolet in the name of those players. Rutledge turns it up and goes down right about the line of scrimmage. The Nebraska defense still hanging tough.
You got to commend them for their fortitude, because normally when you go out for one play and the fumble is made by the offense right on the goal line, the offense takes it in one play, but not against this Nebraska team.
Numbers on the offensive and defensive players. George Andrews has 13 tackles and 3 assists. Rutledge, 18 carries, 53 yards. He's 5 out of 13, 54 yards in passing. But he has run the party for Alabama out on the field. Rutledge, touchdown.
I love him, I'll tell you. It's a regular option play, but Nebraska backs it up outside, and watch him dart inside. He is some football player.
Alan McElroy, junior out of Tuscaloosa for the extra point. It is good. 2:17 play in the ball game, and Alabama now leads Nebraska by a score of 20-3. One more look from the Goodyear Blimp America down into Legion Field, and most of the 77,000-plus people, the record crowd, still here. Now some getting move around and head for the gates as we get the kickoff from Roger Chapman. And it is Lockett. Tumbles up across the 25. They'll give him the 26 where it's first down. 25-yard return on the play. Tackled by Ricky Tucker. That's the third time he's come down under a kickoff tonight. Made a tackle. There's the offensive player of the game for Alabama, quarterback Jeff Rutley. Jeff Quinn is back in the lineup for Nebraska. Jeff came in, had that nightmare moment. Couldn't come up with a snap. The other team recovered it and scored.
Chief Darrell Wall and I were talking last night about Bear Bryant being the first coach of our time to stay active at 65 years old on Monday the 11th. We both agreed he just toughened us. Just toughened everybody I know. I mean, that's just simple. He just toughened.
Quinn is a sophomore out of Ord, Nebraska, and he's going to pull the trigger for the Cornhuskers. The executive producer of NCAA football is Brune Arledge, and we're happy to be back for the 13th consecutive season with our producer Chuck Howard, Andy Sedaris, our director, everybody, Jerry Klein, Mike Swanson, the whole crowd, Johnny Allen. Quinn will put it up. Well, he couldn't put it up, so he just simply started running with it. Byron Braggs had a hold of him behind the line of scrimmage, and he got away from him and took off at a gallop. Randy Scott finally brought him down.
Got away from a big hand. McGriff is 6'6" and about 250 pounds.
Gives it to I.M. Hip, who has really been contained by Alabama's pursuit tonight. Going for the first down. He's very close to it as McGriff makes the tackle. Tonight's game of NCAA college football, Nebraska and Alabama, has been brought to you by the investment firm of E.F. Hutton and Company. When E.F. Hutton talks, people listen. And by the smokeless tobacco, Skoal, Copenhagen, and Happy Days, enjoyed by millions of guys for tobacco pleasure without smoking. Quinn still trying to get a pass off, and he's hasn't been able to do yet. But he runs it with some authority as Alabama is in a full drop-back retreat cover defense playing center field as we go inside a minute to go.
Just old victory defense that I always like to be in. I just like to be the other team throwing against victory defense.
Look at that total yardage working up.
Alabama's defense is for real, and the offense is also.
Winding down to a half minute to go in the opening game of the 78 college season. Finally, Quinn gets a chance to throw it, and he pops it right in on the button to the big tight end Miller. Ball snapped out of there, but that's going to be a first down for Nebraska, stopping the clock while the chains are moved with 24 seconds remaining to play in the game. Our associate director is Kurt Gowdy Jr., our technical manager is Bob Armbruster, and our unit manager Al Castle. Clock is running again once the chains are put in play. 19 first downs for Alabama, 11 for Nebraska. To throw. Going deep. Pass is incomplete, intended for Tim Smith on the sidelines, and the clock is stopped with 2 ticks remaining. 2. Don't forget tomorrow, the U.S. Amateur Golf Championship at 5 Eastern, 4 Central, 4:30 Pacific. You'll see John Denver in Alaska and an ABC Sports Special, 7 Eastern and Pacific and 6 Central Time. Final play of the ball game here, unless there's a penalty. Quinn's got an open field. But somebody got him just by the heel. He finally tumbles down at the Alabama 36, and the ball game is over. And the Crimson Tide, ranked first in the national polls by most everybody, the preseason polls, have won their opening ball game 28-3 over the University of Nebraska. Coach Pratt coming across the field. Some of the Nebraska youngsters going across to shake hands with him, and so is Dr. Tom Osborne. And so the ball game's in the book. Alabama gets off to a solid start, beating a good team from Nebraska 20-3. Frank Royal, Bill Fleming with a good night from Birmingham, Alabama, as the Tide beats Nebraska 20-3. Flint provided by the Goodyear Tire and Rubber Company. Travel arrangements made through and a promotional fee paid by United Airlines. United built the largest airline in the free world around you. This has been a presentation of ABC Sports, recognized around the world as the leader in sports television.